Photographers are like sailors. They don't like getting wet. They go out on long trips and often don't return to their families due to whale attacks. And they like boats. Some of them. It doesn't mean I'm not going to help them. I'll help 10 right now. What do you know?
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on the Sony a7S III Voigtlander, 35mm. Stopped it down to Tony 2, because every damn time I make a video with this lens, I'm not in focus. Because I lean, I have no idea. Right here, maybe? Was that your question? Sony ZV-1F in general, DJI Action 3 focus issues, and the Insta360 X3 picture quality. Who has the bigger fail? You gotta give it to Sony on that one. I mean, that's the most insulting of these releases. Like, that's just a blatant lie to us. Like, here you go, here's the worst thing we could possibly come up with. It's good enough for you. You're a scrub vlogger, you TikToking bitch. That's what it felt like. It was just like, ouch. Whereas DJI, they have problems too. Nothing's ever in focus. Nothing ever was. The DJI Action 1, that was my major complaint about it. You're not in focus handheld. I didn't know it could be remedied with a little filter. That was a nice little life hack. But DJI Action 3 is even worse. They took it to the extreme where nothing's in focus ever. That's a weird release. Like, what is that? Nothing's in focus, nothing's sharp. The only logical explanation is that DJI was bought by Kellogg's cornflakes, and they don't know what they're doing at all. Their last several releases, the Action 2 and then the 3, it's like, what is that? The Action 1 was the best of the bunch, and it only went downhill. Insta360, who cares? What are they even doing by now? Nothing. You can't write without a pen. Okay, so what was the problem with Viltrox 13mm 1.4? Autofocus looked like it was working well in your videos, has great background separation and color rendition to you, color boy. Rendition looked good to me. Personally, I'd avoid F-Log for an internal vlog recording. Just use Eterna. No grading needed. Oh, really? Mr. never used the damn thing in his life. Anybody who thinks Eterna is good for the human face, I'm always perplexed when DP Review, Jordan will get there, he's reviewing whatever Fuji is released and it's in Eterna, all these. Like, that's the worst for skin tones. We all fell for it. We thought it was natural looking. I thought so too. It's like everybody was saying Eterna, wow. No, not at all. It's a magenta face, purple hues. Astia is your skin tone formula. So like Eterna, just use it. You've never done anything worth a grasshopper biting you for. So the GH6 is your prime camera now? Unbelievable. It isn't at all. It's on the counter. I barely use it. It's for wildlife. I wanted to see, could it be done as YouTube? Yeah, kinda. It'll lose your ass sometimes. It seemed so reliable in the beginning and then it lost me in a boardroom meeting. Can't even put on a wig. Give me a break. It's very nice, especially for slow-mo, but image quality-wise, it's not on par with either Sony or the Fuji, in my opinion. You have no opinion, because you're wrong. It's better than the Fuji in a lot of ways, destroys it in some, and nitpicks at the Sony ankles, saying, I'm almost as good. In some ways, it's more filmic. Regarding IBIS in the XH2S, Cine D claimed the XH2 has far better IBIS, but I guess because you like 120p, you dismissed it. What a conspiracy, wow. Yeah, like what's the deal with that? Fuji's too confusing now. It's the same thing like the a7 IV having some things better in video than the a7S III. Now we have this photocentric high megapixel XH2 that likely has better 240 frames per second. I'm gonna find out, no I won't. They don't have it in stock. I will never learn. But I think the XH2 has better 240p than the 2S because of its stacked X-trans mistakes. So it's like, why? Like, what do you do with Fuji? They have the X Pro line and the XT line are now photography centric. Why do you have two? What's your video one? The XH2S, but it's a stacked sensor, useless, with noise patterns like a grizzly bear chewed through your cabin at night. So I don't even know what to think about the XH2. You got better IBIS, better 240p probably, 8K, but this is our photo camera. Confuse someone else next time, not me. What's the best autofocus vlog lens for TH6 logging for vlogging? At least 12mm, preferably 9 with manual focus ring. Is that Olympus? Could you send that to a monkey to proofread before you send it on the show? You dick. What was that? What am I supposed to do with that? The Leica 9mm is the lens that we're all hoping for if it ever comes in stock, which it never will. That could be it. Leica 3D Pop Prime 1.7. I'm trying to sell the others, but nobody wants them. My price is lower by $10 every couple days. Nobody's bouncing. The Laowa 7.5mm Tony 2 is also a good vlogging camera. It's a little wobbly in the corners, but not bad. That's manual focus. There's your ring that you demanded that the monkey would have removed from that sentence. And then the 12mm Tony 2, also super light. Decent, just gotta stretch it out there. Hi at Camera Conspiracies. The hell was that? Do I look like I have a Twitter hat on? I don't. When you were walking on the streets with the GH6, were you using a gimbal? If no gimbal, what were you using to hold up the camera? What were your stabilization settings? See, this is how good Panasonic Stabe is. You question, like, were you floating? Like on a cloud or something? What did you do? Did you get surgery to remove the bones in your arms? Like, how is it so smooth? Wow. Panasonic leads the industry. Hands down. Olympus is good, not quite as good as Panny Boy. That's the truth. To answer your question though, I was just holding it with a tripod, walking carelessly in the night at daytime. So stable. I have the GH6. YouTube guides say turn on some of the off. Got confusing because E-Stabe, Boost IS, don't touch any of that stuff. No electronic, just IBIS is enough, always. Anamorphic video, forget all those. My guess is you left one on, maybe two. None of them were on ever. Just Stabe, move on already. You took the info, just run. I stopped down the toniature against my better judgment. Oh, we already moved on from him. So what you think about FX30 in comparison with the GH6? They're somewhat equals, probably. I'm thinking, would you really want the smaller sensor of the FX30 with its crops? They're pretty equal in specs, but I don't know, the FX30 will have the benefit of autofocus. Animal eye detect, that would be phenomenal. But you're still using that heavy ass glass unless you do G Master 70 to 200. You're not saving money though. I feel like the GH6 has more soul. The FX30 is probably like clinically robot-like better. Like sharper maybe, but like ugly and cold. Panny Boy would destroy it for Stabe though. Like not even in the ballpark. Sony is weird. I'm glad it is working for you. However, as a photographer and not a video user, with that tiny sensor, how big can you enlarge your images or even go 100% before they start to turn to custard on your screen? Who are you talking to? You're talking about like photos and like printing stuff. Do you live in a railway station or something? This ain't 1974. Build a cabin or something. After shooting exclusively with Fuji now for over 10 years, I've finally seen the light. Now, I'm getting more paid gigs. Fuji could not cut it. I agree. You're back in my good books. However, I went the other way. I went to full frame, not backwards like you did, to micro four thirds. Listen, buddy, we already been there. We have full frame. Now I'm looking for complements to the full frame. Micro four thirds has advantages, much better stabilization, They should have better specs, but they don't. But that's Stabe. Wow. Some color science might be preferred over there. Handling, usability with the custom modes and tweaks and buttons. The grip. There's good stuff. Lighter, much lighter, cheaper, not really. Full frame is fun. But there's both, there's room for both. If you try Fuji again, would it be XH2S or XH2 or XT line? I don't know. What would you even try? Fuji's too stupid. They step on their own mouth. I've already tried the XH2S, so I'm not really that curious. I liked it for YouTube, but they had no lens. Once Fuji makes a nice prime 16mm f1.4 Mark II that isn't super loud and crunchy, or something wider, anywhere from 12 to 16 1.4, I would be in your life again, maybe. I'm mildly curious if the XH2 has better 240p, but even if it did, it's probably not as good as the 300 frames on Panty Boy. Take that. How do you set the camera to auto expose without ND filters while vlogging? I do it by disobeying the only rule given to videographers. Expose with shutter, like a normal person. I'm gonna make a whole video on this because so many people stick to this 180-degree shutter rule and they end up at like f22 and it just looks like utter GoPro trash. GoPro's the best, by the way. I'm sorry for insulting you. Just like the dumbest. Just let it ride, man. No one cares about your jittery movements. I'm at 1/250th right now because it's perfect. All right, last question. Which would be better for shooting cinematic quality short films? GH6 or S5? By cinematic short films, do you mean going out into your backyard for 10 minutes and filming whatever your mom put out there for decoration and then coming back and like writing a murder mystery or something? Your bullshit film is not cinematic. Your whole premise has no heart or soul. If you needed a camera, however, I'm thinking GH6 has the better specs, more slow motion, better Stabe. S5 is only if you need low light and you don't like noise in your footage. Sometimes I get complaints, oh, it's so noisy today. What's wrong with that? Who cares? Who cares a foot? Sometimes I make videos on this Canon EOS R and it's like super noisy. I'm like, what the hell did I do? It's like ISO 800. I don't know why it gets so bad in C-Log. You can't underexpose that thing. I see it now. But like, who cares? Did it distract? Why do I get like 7 comments about that in a video? It's like, what about all the stuff I talked about? I said stuff. Was I in focus for 1 second of the last half of this show? I doubt it. I would choose the GH6. We're waiting for an S5H or something. People could do good things, but they don't. They don't listen to me. You just need to copy the low megapixel way of life. The GH5S did it. Imagine a GH6S doing that 8 megapixels. Oh my God, the best 4K, 480p. No one's gonna do it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody give me $40 million and I will start a camera company and we will end this thing for good. I'm gonna leave. I was in focus for 41% of the time, and I like those odds. You can thank the work I've done here today by voting for t-shirts down below or buying everything. Just click on the Amazon store down there and then go shop around for whatever you need. And I will take a well-deserved cut. I'm going to leave now.